A landmark Supreme Court case ruling earlier this morning. Big loss for big labor. Your take?
Well, my take is that while it does appear to be quite an unfair decision to labor, because if you benefit from a collective bargaining agreement, you ought to pay something for the cost of negotiating that contract. And the Supreme Court says, no, you don't. You can benefit from the contract, but you don't have to contribute to the overall effort. That's too bad. But I am not one who is too pessimistic because, look, workers in West Virginia, Oklahoma, all over this country, without the benefit of many worker protections, are still going out there fighting and winning better contracts, better deals. I mean, look, in West Virginia, they weren't covered, but they still fought back and they still pushed back. And I think what the Supreme Court has really done is introduced us into a new era of labor unrest, where we could expect that there would be negotiations and not have too many work stoppages. They've now introduced a degree of uncertainty so that, honestly, working people are going to have to sort of look out for themselves a whole lot more. And I think unions are going to really be able to make the case to people that those union dues are essential, and those union dues are the ones that keep them in a position to have good wages, good working conditions. And that's a case that I think they can make.
Mark Janus says that this was a First Amendment freedom of speech issue. The Supreme Court 5-4 ruling heard the freedom of speech argument and agreed. Is it about freedom of speech?
Absolutely not. Look, it's important to understand this Supreme Court is one that was, the Janus decision was decided the day that Mitch McConnell refused to seat the nominee of Barack Obama. The moment that Neil Gorsuch was appointed, he was there, really, in my opinion, for one main reason, and that is to vote the way he just did in the Janus decision. I think the First Amendment right is the right to freedom of association for workers. That's the real freedom of First Amendment issue. This idea that a basic fee for the cost of negotiating the contract is somehow invoking a First Amendment protection, to me, is just ridiculous. And it's just more evidence that this is an extremely partisan court who believes that, rich people don't have enough money and that everybody else has too much. That's really what's going on. This decision is not firmly rooted on any First Amendment principle. It's just rooted on, he who has the gold makes the rules. That's basically what it is.
I want to talk about those rules because you're running for Attorney General. You're going to finish out your term, Congressman, and then and you're running in August in a Democratic primary in your state for Attorney General. That puts you in the legal fight against the Trump administration, and my understanding is that was part of your decision to get into that Attorney General race. What are you going to be doing, should you be elected as Attorney General in your state, from a legal standpoint, to counteract some of these measures that you disagree with?
Well, let me say, there's two big things that I think any state attorney general should be doing. Two things. One, standing up for people's rights, particularly as it relates to the Trump administration. But also...
Specifically, which ones?
Well, let's just say workers' rights, the right to health care, the right to free and open internet, the right to not be discriminated against, all these rights. But also people who are up against corporate power, up against big entities. The Attorney General should be on the side of the average American who's trying to take care of their family. And so whether it's a big internet company or a big bank or a big whoever it is, the Attorney General should say, you know what, you're not alone. We're going to make sure you get treated with fairness, that your rights are protected, and the bigs are not just going to roll right over you. We're not going to let them pollute your neighborhood. We're not going to just let them squat on top of you and do what they want.
I hear your argument, and I hear echoes of what happened last night in New York City, where Congresswoman-elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez beat a 10-year incumbent Congressman...
10-term,
incumbent Congressman Crowley. Many believed he was in line to succeed House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi. What do you make of that? Can we make anything of that race?
Well, what I will say is a few things. Joe is a great person and a good friend of mine. I feel sorry for him tonight. But, we are all in the business of politics. And these kind of things happen all the time. And I congratulate the winner of last night's primary in New York and welcome her to Congress. And I say that, we expect that she is going to be a fighter for working people in her role as a member of Congress.
Political experts are saying that this is equivalent to what happened when Eric Cantor lost to Dave Bratt in the Republican primary. What do you make of this?
I think making facile comparisons like that is what we often do, but it's often wrong. I think what's really happening here is we're in the middle of a 40